What's up, y'all? You're watching Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we are doing contract talk again. This is our reading rainbow for IBEW Local 26 members. Grab your inside wireman agreement and let us dive in. Now, last time we covered contract talk, we finished off on section 4.10 safety measures. So we're going to pick up from there, and we're going to start at section 4.11 on page 21. It's machinery, and we're going to cover that, and we're going to cover 4.12, which is fabrication and assembly. We'll cover 4.13, which is going to be coverage of the agreement, and we'll cover 4.14, which is employee storage. But before I go forward, I do want to go backwards to 4.09, because it dawned on me as I thought about this. We have in our contract a provision that allows for a petty foreman to deny a working person overtime indefinitely. Let me explain. 4.09, overtime distribution. No worker shall be sent from one job to work on an overtime job unless all workers on such overtime job are employed. Here's where the kicker comes in. However, any employee who has received a written warning relevant to performance from the employer in excess of 72 hours prior to the overtime shall forfeit his or her claim to overtime work. And it doesn't give you a time span. It just says if you had been given a written warning relevant to performance by the employer in excess of 72 hours. That means if it happens Wednesday, I could still work this Saturday, right? But every Saturday after that, they can keep me from working because of a written warning. That's the interpretation that I see. That's what I'm reading here, and I can read it verbatim. However, any employee who has received a written warning relevant to performance from the employer in excess, that means longer than or further, more than 72 hours prior to the overtime, shall forfeit his or her claim to overtime work. And then it goes on to say superintendents and or job foremen shall make equitable distribution of any overtime among all workers on any job or building. So I just wanted to go back to that because we kind of brushed past it in the last video because it kind of went under the radar. We were covering a lot of material, but I thought about it later on and I was like, wow, that's really terrible. That's a scary thing to even think about, that you may upset some foreman who's got an axe to grind, and because he gets upset, he can then bar you from overtime moving forward if he gives you a written warning. I don't think that's a good idea. Anyway, let's go ahead and start in with section 4.11. This is machinery. There shall be no restriction in the use of machinery, equipment, or power-driven tools. All such power-driven tools shall be supplied by the contractor. That means do not supply your own power-driven tools, i.e. battery drills, screw guns, these types of things. No, like the Kembe Mutombo. No, don't bring that to work. Section 4.12, fabrication and assembly. Any pipe, wire, service, or fixture assembly or other material necessary for the job, including hangers and brackets not bent, fabricated or assembled on the job, shall be cut, bent, or fabricated by employees covered by this agreement. The above does not apply to factory-made catalog items. That is for your prefab shops at the electrical contractor shop. Those prefab shops, those have to be employees covered by the agreement that are making your prefab equipment, your prefab setups. Unless it comes from the factory, if it's being put together on the job or on an off-site facility and shipped to the job and it's being put together by your company, it's got to be put together by people covered by this contract, according to our contract. Section 4.12. Section 4.13, coverage of agreement. There's two letters here. Letter A is temporary facilities. Where temporary lighting, heat, and or power is used on construction projects, the maintenance thereof is recognized as falling under the jurisdiction of the union and is subject to the terms of this agreement. We got the temporary lighting, heat, and or power on construction projects. Where temporary lighting, heat, and or power is used on construction projects, the maintenance thereof is recognized as falling under the jurisdiction of the union and subject to this agreement. Letter B is permanent facilities. Any heating and or stationary or automatic heating boiler which is wired permanently through the permanent service equipment, main panel board, and protective devices shall require no maintenance. Now section 4.14, and this is important. This concerns your tools. Very important. This is employee storage, okay? This is the last section we're going to cover for this video. So, employee storage. Where other trades are employed on a job, the employer shall provide suitable storage for employees' tools. If employees' tools are lost due to theft or fire outside of working hours, the employer will replace the lost tools or reimburse the employee within 30 days after notification of the loss if both parties have previously verified which tools were on the job site and if the tools were stored in a secure area designated by the employer. This means when you go on a job, you better come in with your tools and verify with your supervisor list, however you want to do it. Verify the tools that you have just in case your stuff comes up missing and it was in a locked gang box. It's on them to replace your stuff. Verify what you have, especially if you're carrying stuff like many of y'all do outside of the tool list. You got stuff outside of that tool list, verify your tools. Verify your tools with your supervision so you can be reimbursed if something, God forbid, happens to your tools. If the employer's insurance carrier covers loss by fire during working hours, and if verification has taken place, the employer shall reimburse the employee for his or her tools. It is understood that it may not be possible to provide secure storage on certain job sites. I don't understand that, but they say it's understood. I don't see why everything's so difficult. If the employer does not store his tools on the job site, the employer shall not be responsible for employees' tools. In such instances, employees must assume responsibility for storage of tools. They're leaving it on you. If the employer is not leaving their tools on the job, do not leave your tools on the job. If the employer is not leaving their tools on the job, do not leave your tools on the job. All right? That means you're carrying them in and out of the building every day. All right? Which means keep your toolbox light, stick to the tool list so you can carry it in and out every day and not kill yourself. All right? And that's where we're going to leave off. 4.14. Next time that we do contract talk, we'll be picking up at section 4.15 and covering hours and safety equipment and cable splicing, recall, and all that other good stuff. All right? But that's all we got for tonight. I hope you guys found this informative. Read your contract, learn your agreement so that you know what is expected of you and what you should expect of your contractor, because we have a legally binding agreement that makes it so. Don't be afraid to use it. All right? My name's Eric. Thank you for watching. Remember that the fight is not left and right. It's up and down. It's going to take class solidarity to win always. Each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. And remember, there can be no union without you and I front and center. Peace.